Good morning, it's September 7th, and this is to my liberal friends. Politicians need to be in touch with the electorate, but all too many have no idea about the challenges that face ordinary Americans. It's been true in the past, and it's true today. For someone running for the presidency, this is an especially difficult problem. If you're the incumbent president running for a second term, you've been isolated in the White House for the past several years. You've not been to a gas station, shopped in a grocery store, or even walked through a mall for the previous 4 years. Everything is done for you, and so those everyday activities become somewhat foreign to you. For most of our history, journalists left the personal lives of presidents alone, and they were considered out of bounds. The media hid the fact that Franklin Roosevelt was in a wheelchair, and most Americans were not really aware of this disability. He carried on a years-long affair with Lucy Page Rutherford, and the media had a tacit agreement not to report on this aspect of his life. Ms. Rutherford was with the president when he died in Warm Springs, Georgia. It was a romance that spanned 30 years. Dwight D. Eisenhower was reported to have engaged in an affair with Kay Summersby, who served on his staff in Europe. It was always denied, but in correspondence between the two, Ike said he yearned for feminine companionship. In her memoirs, Summersby wrote that Eisenhower saying to her, quote, "Kay, there's nobody I can talk to freely. They all ask to be promoted, or if I talk to the wrong person, what I say is reported all over the world. I know that I can let my thoughts flow with you," end quote. The media sniffed around this before he became president, but let it drop after he was elected. John F. Kennedy was known for his sexual affairs. It was rumored to have been involved with Marilyn Monroe, Pamela Turner, Blaise Starr, Marlene Dietrich, Mimi Alford, and many others. His best friend, Dave Powers, was in charge of finding beautiful women for JFK to bed. In 2016, a woman, Diana DeBay, told the story of her relationship with Kennedy when she was only 20 years old. Mimi Alford was a White House intern, only 19 when she caught the president's eye. And once again, it was well known in Washington circles, but kept out of the media. And that all seems to change with a couple of missteps by George H.W. Bush. In February of '92, during his campaign, Bush gave a speech to the National Grocers Association and then was given a tour of the new grocer technology, including a state-of-the-art scanner that could weigh produce and read barcodes. It was apparent that Bush had not seen anything like this, and he looked on with great wonder. The New York Times reported this, and the headline was, quote, "Bush encounters the supermarket, amazed," end quote. The story was picked up by other newspapers, and the impact was that Bush was out of touch. It was later reported he did not know the price of a half gallon of milk. Well, that seemed to break the dam about staying out of the president's personal life, and when Bill Clinton got involved with Monica Lewinsky, the press was all over it. Clinton kept denying anything had happened and actually lied under oath. But once Miss Lewinsky produced the famous blue dress, the cat was out of the bag. Clinton lost his law license for the lie, but was reelected for a second term and remained a popular figure. Part of that was his affable nature, his ability to connect with the average guy, and they liked him. Unfortunately, none of that appeal transferred to his wife, Hillary. So now here we are in 2023, and once again, a president, Joe Biden, is facing criticism for being out of touch, and the evidence shows us that it's probably true. Over and over, Joe Biden White House spokespeople continue to tell the American people that the economy is fine. But for the millions of families in this nation, that is not something they're buying as they see everyday costs keep rising. Now, I don't expect Joe Biden to do his own grocery shopping, but I do expect someone in the White House to understand that when people go to the grocery store, they're becoming depressed. A classic example of how out of touch Biden has become is his continued war against gas-powered vehicles as he attempts to force-feed us all electric vehicles. He seems oblivious to the cost of these EVs. He talks about a nationwide charging network that would be along major highways. But then he seems to forget there are millions of people that do not have garages to park these EVs in, and that means they can't charge their car while it's parked on the street. But that's not where the media covers up for Joe Biden. We all know he's a gaffe machine, and that makes them over and over. The White House press staff has to issue clarifying statements time and again, and the media allows them to get away with it. Biden can say something that's blatantly untrue and shows how out of touch he is with the public, and the media ignores his mistakes and refuses to cover them. Joe Biden shows all the signs of being out of touch. Just this week, he left the Medal of Honor ceremony with one of the awardees standing there before it ended. The staff then said it was always planned for him to leave early. Somehow I doubt that, and Joe just did what Joe does and left. Sort of like when he turns the wrong way on a stage and has to be corrected and the media makes excuses for him. My point is simple. We seem to have gone back in time, and the media will not cover any personal troubles or foibles of Joe Biden. They hushed up any reporting on the accusations of Tara Reade that Joe Biden groped her when she worked for him in the Senate. They completely ignored the Hunter Biden laptop story, and to this day they refuse to give the coverage the financial scandal deserves. But in the end, it's becoming apparent that Joe Biden is out of touch with the American voters as he pushes a hard left agenda. The polling shows that people don't believe that Biden understands what's important to them, and in the end, this may be his weakness that caused him to lose the election. This has been To My Liberal Friends. I appreciate your listening. If you enjoy the podcast, hit the subscribe button, and if you have a comment, please leave it.